Righty. I think we're good to go. I hope you guys are as excited as I am for this one. This is one of my favorites of all time, because it's really ultimately it's what I'm all about and what the Social Skills Center is all about, are really teaching these essential skills in a world that is really competitive. So that's what today is going to be all about. If you wouldn't mind on holding off on your questions until the end. And today I'm going to try only, well, we'll see. But if you feel comfortable raising your hand, which is a little feature at the bottom, it should be at the bottom of your screen. If you raise your hand, I'll know that you have a question. And if we can hold off, I'll be able to hopefully answer that question at the end. If you do raise your hand, be aware that when I click on you, you'll be able to share your question so that the entire group, the entire number of participants can hear that question, which I think is really helpful for everybody. If for whatever reason you don't feel comfortable doing that, I have the chat feature opened up as well. Feel free to ask your question in the chat in the end, and I will read the question off so everybody knows what the question is and then hopefully provide a good answer. All right. Yeah, thank you again for being here. For those of you that don't know me, if you've never heard me present before or haven't caught one of our earlier webinars, we've been now doing them, seems like for a pretty good time, every other Thursday. I'm Dr. Christopher Haley. I'm actually a licensed clinical psychologist, and I'm an owner. I actually own 2 different private practices, but I'm here on behalf of my Social Skills Center. My passion, ultimately what I'm into is to teach social skills. I teach these skills to children, adolescents, and adults. I use individual formats and group formats to teach them. And it's amazing. I actually currently facilitate 12 different social skills groups every single week for all ages. And my associate, Scott Miller, who works with me at the Social Skills Center, he facilitates several as well. And the reason people say, well, why do you do so many groups? We do so many groups because you have to, when you run a social skills group, if you facilitate one, you have to match by both age and level of functioning. So many other groups out there, they'll just match by the age, which is very important. But then if you don't match by level of functioning, you have all different levels of a same age group. And it's just, no one really benefits from that because you're just not able to connect with your group members, which is so important. I say this a lot, both Scott and I are huge believers that social skills are essential, really essential life skills, in that if you're good at this, I do this action a lot. If you're good at this, meaning if you can connect with people, if you can network with people, if your communication skills, your speaking skills are solid, if you're an exceptional listener, you, in my mind, will go places in life. I regularly say, whether you're a graduate of high school or a graduate of Harvard, if you're able to possess really good skills, to me, it's even more important than getting straight A's in school. So those social skills really correlate higher with success to me than academics do. So, I mean, we just, in going back now, I'm doing this webinar in the office in my home. I think this is the 21st week I've been working out of my home. But fortunately, when we all had to, socially distance and quarantine in our houses, at the Social Skills Center, we had so much success when we were really forced to start switching our in-person services to now telehealth services. And because of the success we've had, we've been able to expand our services. Now, really, if you have a computer and you have internet connection, you can gain these essential life skills. So we're excited to be expanding the services really, really globally. This month, it's a big month for me. I'm going to shake my head at this one. I'm starting it was 28 years ago in August that I started working with clients. I can't believe how fast that time goes. And since my first master's degree back in the early 90s, it's been, I've worked with thousands of individuals, mostly focusing on teaching these essential skills. So it's 28 years, a lot of memories, a lot of positive things. It goes by fast. It's been a really enjoyable ride. Rather than share a story with you today, like I usually do when it comes to facilitating my webinars, I want to share some facts with you. So here's what I know. about exceptional social skills and why it's so important to use the title of the webinar to step up your game and to step it up now. For parents that are watching today, or if you're watching this on YouTube at a later day, if you're a parent of a little kid or you work with little kids, here's a fact for you. Did you know this? That studies have been done. Kindergartners who share, cooperate, and are helpful, those three things, are more likely to have a college degree and a job 20 years later than children who lack those skills. How telling is that? They did a totally separate study of kindergartners, and they found that children who had better social skills in early childhood were more likely to succeed in the areas of education, employment, and mental health. And mental health. That's how valuable these social skills can be. If you're watching and listening today and you're the parent of a teenager, or if you're working with teenagers, or if you happen to be watching this and you are a teenager or are catching it on YouTube later, did you know this? If you're a teen or you're a parent and you have a teen, the teen almost definitely for their first job interview, that's going to be a face-to-face experience. In that, you're going to sit in a chair and have to convince the person across from you, whoever's interviewing you, the hiring manager, whoever, that you're the one. Now, maybe with coronavirus and stuff, maybe these interviews are going to be done in a modality like this, but I doubt it. A lot of this stuff is still done face-to-face, and it's so important to realize there's a lot of unemployed people out there. It's hard to get these entry-level positions that teens are interested in getting into. So it's the social skills, it's the eye contact, it's the confidence, it's the being able to communicate clearly who you are, what you're about. That's what's going to get that job. That's what's going to land it. That's how valuable social skills are. Other facts about social skills. I'm not the most technologically savvy guy. I regularly say that. And I understand that there's been some major revolutions with computers and whatnot. But I still say this. I think computers are very poor still at simulating human interactions. And again, advancements are being made all the time in this stuff. But I believe regardless of your age, right now, I believe in your lifetime, social skills are going to be essential because maybe 200 years down the road, the computer technology piece will overtake that. But in your lifetime, social skills are important. A couple other facts for you before we get started. Did you know that job growth is currently greatest in industries that require a high level of social interaction, meaning that this social interaction and connection, communication skills, listening skills, these things are highly, highly sought after in the real world. Did you also know that employees with better social skills make more money? They've done studies, it's proven. The better your social skills, the more money you make. And the greater your social skills with the managers and bosses that you work directly with or directly under, those are the folks that get the promotions sooner than those who don't. And one more thing, another very telling fact is that those with solid social skills score higher overall on happiness and health measures down the road than those who struggle socially. All facts. Social skills are essential life skills. At the Social Skills Center, we are truly and have always been truly committed to helping our clients be, I'll use the word successful. And you can define success any way you want to. You can define success as having a lot of friends. You can define success as being a great parent, having a high-paying job. You can define success as the ability to get out and help other people, or maybe a combination of those or something else. I've long said that the primary foundation of all these different definitions of success is connections, it's social skills. There was so much information to share in this webinar that I decided before we started advertising to break it down into two different parts. I've over the last 8 webinars, I have a tendency to run over. I'm going to try to keep this one hopefully within the 45 minutes. The last one went actually over an hour, and I know that your time is very valuable. And again, I appreciate you being here. So I decided to break this one down into 2 different parts. Both parts, they're going to be filled with, in typical Dr. Haley fashion, tips, techniques, strategies to teach your child or your student or yourself these essential skills. So are you ready? I hope I've got you excited. I'm excited about it. Again, this is what I do. This is what I've spent my working life doing, over 2 decades. It's amazing. Let's dive right in. Step up your game, the essential social skills needed to thrive in a competitive world. Slide number 1. And I'm going to, again, last webinar, I did a great job with managing both slides and the presentation. I had a lot of success with it. So I'm feeling confident, especially confident today. I'm going to move down my thing just so I can read. Okay. First and foremost, and this is big, guys. This is a big one. You always smile and make immediate eye contact. Smile and make immediate eye contact. Why do we do this? Well, why smile? Because a smile is welcoming. You'll find out why in a second. Why eye contact? Because in our culture, in our society, eye contact is consistent with social confidence. If just getting back to the interview thing that we discussed before, if you're not smiling during the interview and your eye contact is poor, the chances of getting the job go way down. When I meet someone for the first time, if I greet a child in the waiting room in one of my offices, for example, it's always with a smile. It's always with eye contact. And if I'm coaching an adult, for example, we use Zoom for our coaching as well. It's always with a smile and eye contact. And you can maintain eye contact with someone online. It's possible. So always smile and maintain eye contact. I question, this used to be smile, eye contact, firm handshake. The firm handshake might be a thing of the past. I don't know. It's always been a staple. It's always been a must or a have to when you introduce yourself or meet someone. But I think time will say, certainly there won't be handshakes for a while. Things may come around. I don't really know. We're going to have to wait and see with the handshakes. But we're going to stick with the smile and make immediate eye contact. Now, sometimes psychologists, this is interesting. Sometimes psychologists do studies or experiments or research on things that a layperson would say, why would you do a study on that? Isn't it blatantly obvious? Okay, I'm going to share one of those studies with you, even though you're going to say that's blatantly obvious. Here's the study. Stick with me because it's very telling. It's really very telling. The experiment was done on a college campus with college students, like many psychology experiments are. College students are very willing to make a few bucks to participate. I was one back in the day, so I know this. The subject went to the building where they were doing the quote experiment, and the subject was blind, had no idea, blind to the experiment, not visually blind, was blind to what was going on. He went in and he checked in with the receptionist and said, I'm here to participate in the study. The receptionist said, okay, we haven't begun the study yet, but through that door, if you go through that door, there's a couple other participants who are waiting to be in this experiment as well. So the subject goes in, opens the door, and walks through. He enters a room with 2 other people in it. One person is in the corner on the right, another person in the corner on the left. When he notices the person on the corner on the right, that person's head is down with a frumpy face like this. The person on the left, off in the corner, immediately puts their head up, smiles, and makes eye contact with that person. Now, you see where I'm going with this. Obviously, the 2 people, that's the study. They're not there to participate. They're part of the study. What corner does this person, the experiment person, which corner do they gravitate to? Obviously, the vast majority of the time, they gravitate to the person who smiles and makes eye contact. That, again, it's obvious that would happen. And they did a study to prove it. That's how important a smile and eye contact are. Now, I don't want to offend anybody here. So my question is, if anyone here that's listening works for the DMV, could you kindly just raise your hand so I know? I'm hoping no hands go up. that would ruin my next story. I'm waiting. No hands. Okay, no hands. That's cool. Because I don't want to offend anyone. That's not why I'm here. Yeah, I don't know about y'all, but when I go to the DMV, I don't get a whole lot of warm fuzzies walking in there. First of all, you stand in line, you get up to the receptionist after you're waiting like an hour or whatever, and you're like, I'm here to renew my license. Without any eye contact, they hand you the clipboard. Yeah, fill this out. You're B9, go sit over there. And you sit down, you fill out your paperwork to update your license. And oh, an hour or two later, lo and behold, B9 gets called. And you go up to B9, you politely hand them the paperwork, you say hi, and they say, look in there and do an eye test. So you look in and stand over there for your new picture. You stand, you're like, ooh, I don't like that. It looks like a mugshot. Tough, you're done. That's been my, luckily you can, I guess, renew your license now by not going in, but that's been my DMV experience. I'm glad. I hope I'm not offending anybody. Now, let's take that example though, and let's contrast that with, anyone ever been to the Apple store lately? Here's a good one for you. Really good story for you. So I'm facilitating the webinar today on my MacBook Pro. I've got it right in front of me. But a while back it fritzed out. Because, that's just what computers do because they're complicated. So I had to bring my MacBook in right up the street here to Tyson's Corner. In Tyson's Corner Mall, they have an Apple store. I made an appointment. So as I'm walking through the mall, even before I get in the Apple store, I can see a person there with an iPad, an employee, because they all wear the shirts, an employee just looking, smiling. It's almost like begging me, hey, you're coming in to come see me. So I go up to this person and they say, hey, how you doing? My name's Hannah. How can I help you? Smile and eye contact. Oh, well, my name's Chris Haley. I have an appointment. My MacBook is right here. It busted. Oh, just come with me, Chris. So this Hannah walks me halfway through the store and introduces me by name to another person. Another employee. She says, hey, Amelia, this is Chris. He's here to get his MacBook fixed. And Amelia, with another smile, says, oh, welcome to the Apple store. You have an appointment. They call it the Genius Bar. I think you need to be a genius to figure out these computers. But she says, you have a Genius Bar appointment and you're a little bit early. We'll take you in a few minutes. Smiling, eye contact. And then I finally get to it was a gentleman that helped me fix my MacBook, did a great job. But it's DMV, Apple Store. DMV, it's the smiling and the eye contact and the connecting. I'm going to keep my business with Apple. It's just a wonderful experience. In addition to all this stuff, I encourage the clients that I see, whether it be in person or online, to try to work a smile just in your everyday general conversations with people, whether that be a family dinner, talking to a colleague, interacting with your neighbor outside. When you work a smile, a genuine smile into the conversations, it's welcoming, it connects you with people. At the Social Skills Center, we'll even take it a step further. So if someone comes to see me that's a little more sophisticated socially, can actually work that smile in, I teach them, we go another step. So when I walk out to a waiting room, when I open the door in the hallway and walk out to the waiting room to greet somebody, whether I know them or not, if I walk out and I already have a smile on my face, the person might appreciate that, but they're thinking, maybe someone told Dr. Haley a joke in the hallway. Maybe he's, smiling because he just had his favorite lunch. Who knows? They don't know what the smile's about. So we teach even more specific skills. When I open a door, I'll come out, make eye contact first, then smile. Then that person feels that smile's for me. That's a welcoming smile. Dr. Haley wants me to be here. Now I'm looking forward to that 50-minute session. So even those little nuances make a difference. A smile walking out is better than nothing, but eye contact first, then the smile, that smile's for that person. It makes such a difference. Max Eastman, this is his quote, a smile is the universal welcome. And it's so true. Next one. Neat appearance and appropriate hygiene. Neat appearance and appropriate hygiene. I can't stress this one enough. Here's another study for you. When you meet someone for the first time, how long do you think it takes for them to start forming opinions of you, for them to start judging you? How long do you think that takes? Take a moment and just think about it. Before they start forming judgments, before they start forming opinions, 5 minutes, 30 minutes? Here's the real answer. Studies vary, but it's about 7 seconds. 7 seconds before these opinions are starting to form in their brain. So what are they basing this on? right? How smart you are? No chance. You haven't even spoken yet. Are they basing it on your personality? Yeah, it's gotta be. How nice you are? No way, not in 7 seconds. They're basing this judgment, these opinions on your appearance, on what you look like. We just, again, I'll reference job interviews again. They know with research on job interviews, they know in seconds if they're gonna hire you or not. It's not based on your knowledge base. It's based on how do you present? How do you present? We've all heard the saying, don't judge a book by its cover. Nice in theory, not true in reality, not true in the real world at all. So the list for appearance and hygiene is a mile long. Let me highlight just a couple things that are so important to consider and focus on. Bedhead. You wanna maintain your hair when you're out and about. Brushing your teeth. Nice teeth are so highly valued in our culture, maybe too much, but people will judge you just based on your teeth. So brush your teeth, have your teeth clean. You've been talking with someone, I'm sure, and they wear glasses and there's smudges all over their lenses. So it's like you hard make eye contact. Keep even your lenses clean. Little things like this make a difference. I met with an adult who was at a business meeting and turned to the guy next to her and his ears were all dirty. And she's like, oh, keeping your ears clean, getting the little sleep out of your eyes in the morning. If you're middle school age or older, wearing deodorant. One of the biggest turnoffs, there's research on this, one of the biggest turnoffs, bad breath and BO. Those are two huge turnoffs for people around you. So you always want to be wearing deodorant middle school and up. Things like mismatched clothes, or during one of my college summers, my job, I worked in a paint factory. I was very lucky that I worked in the lab where we experimented on paint and tested paint. But I worked with a guy, a middle-aged guy, who always wore a navy blue button-down shirt and black pants every day throughout the whole entire summer. I didn't know if it was the same navy blue shirt and black pants each day, or if his wardrobe was all blue shirts and black pants. I didn't know, but again, people talk. For kids wearing floods or pants that are too small, Velcro shoes is a big one. And again, this is just a small sampling of appearance and hygiene sorts of concerns. Young kids have a tendency to be a little bit more tolerant and accepting of these individual differences. Bedhead, a kid that goes to school with bedhead in 3rd grade, probably not going to be a big deal. Mismatched clothes, not that big of a deal in elementary school. Middle school, however, you send a kid to school in middle school with Velcro shoes, you may as well take a bullseye and put it on his back, because the bullies, unfortunately, are going to be coming. So for the kids that I have as clients, I don't deal directly with the little kids about this stuff. The intervention here is not with the child, it's with the parent. It's with the parent to be a little bit more cognizant, to be a little bit more mindful of those very things that I just mentioned. And I'm always very nice. No one, I have 4 kids, 4 teenagers, no one ever tells me how to parent. So the parents I work with, I don't tell them what to do, but I'll give advice. And you want to cushion it. Let's say, for example, is it possible that if we send little Joey to 7th grade, to middle school, and he wears Velcro shoes, that might not be the best idea, that might bring some bullies his way? And then there's, yeah, okay, well, let's talk about it. Let's come up with other options. Did you know that they now make shoes that are slip-on sneakers, but it looks like they have ties, but they're easy to slip on? Some kids, we have to remember, have difficulty tying their shoes. And especially those with the fine motor issues. So we have to understand that. And I can empathize with that, but there are other options other than sending your kid with Velcro shoes. There's other clothing options as well. I want to share one more story. This is actually really funny about neat appearance and appropriate hygiene. In all the social skills groups for the younger kids, we always have rules that we have to follow. Obviously, it makes sense. You need rules. one person talking at a time, be respectful for our in-person groups, maintain proper social space, your personal space. But another really important one we have for the in-person groups, this is a true story, no passing gas. True story. I have that rule, no passing gas. So it's so funny because when we have a new member joining a group, I turn to the other experienced members and I say, okay, let's tell the new member what our group rules are. And always the hands go up and they're like this, like, I'm like, okay, I know what rule you want to say. Like, what's the rule? No farting. It's not cool to fart in public. It's not cool. So we have a rule. If you have to pass gas, no problem. Happens to all of us. Excuse yourself. Go out in the hallway. If the bathroom's nearby, go in the bathroom and do what you have to do. When you're leaving the office, don't say, I'm going to fart, everybody, because that's happened before. And when you come back, certainly don't say, woo, that was a real stink bomb. No, excuse yourself. You don't have to say what you're doing. Do what you got to do and come back. Neat appearance and appropriate hygiene. One of the legends, one of the greatest Americans of all time, Ben Franklin said, tolerate no uncleanliness in body, clothes, or habitation. Neat appearance and appropriate hygiene. Number 3, and please write these down. Always be respectful, and never criticize, never criticize. I know what some of you are saying. They're like, dude, 2 weeks ago at the last webinar, you were telling us never use these absolutes, always and never. True story, I know. So I know it's impossible to follow this one 100% of the time, but do the best you can with it. I'm sorry, it's 2020. To me, I see this. I see this around here in the Northern Virginia community. I see this in the people I interact with. Respect's going this way. Being critical of others, blaming others, that's on the rise in 2020. Just the way it is. I'll share a story about this. I work with a lot of parents, just from a parenting standpoint. I work with parents to help their kids. So I coach them a lot on these different things. And one of the things that the parents often ask me about is, how do you deal with the school? And in this one, I'm specifically referencing public schools, but it could be private schools too. How do you deal with school administrators and teachers with an IEP meeting? How do you navigate a 504 meeting? Or really, any meeting with the school in general. So I reference this a lot. Some people are passive. Some people are aggressive. Some people are in the middle, assertive. That's how you want to be when dealing with the school. Sometimes, the minority of the time, the parents I work with, they're at this end, the passive end. And I work and I help them become more assertive. As we all know, with schools and in life, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. So if you're a bit of a wallflower, the needs of your child might not be met. So I get them to move a little bit this way. But the majority of the time, I see the parents that are more aggressive, that they want to go in, they want to yell, they want to scream, they want to demand. And I say, listen, not the way to be with schools or really with anyone else in life, to be honest. We want to join, not butt heads. We want to join. We want to be respectful. We don't want to be critical. We can bring up specific examples if we have concerns, but we don't want to put people on the spot. We don't want to be critical. We have to, in life, we want to work with others. If there's a conflict resolution can be win-win. We want to work towards a common goal here. That's what we want to do. And as a business owner, I'll be honest with y'all. If you have a concern with me and you share it in a respectful way, I'm much more eager and much more willing to help you. That's the reality. When you criticize someone, what happens? A shield goes up. That's what happens. A shield goes up and you're going to get a defensive or even a hostile response. Albert Einstein said, I speak to everyone in the same way, whether he's the garbage man or the president of the university. Let's try this. Let's try to always be respectful. Let's try to never criticize. It goes a long way in the social world. And finally today, another really, really big one that I've found, you'd be surprised, a lot of people struggle with this. We want to remember people's names. So important in connecting with others. How many times have you been introduced to someone? Hey, my name's Joe. Hey, my name's Chris. And then you have a little conversation. You never met this person before, so you converse back and forth. And then it's time to part ways. And the other person says, hey, bye, Chris. Nice to meet you. And you say, bye. You? Nice to meet you. I'm the so-called expert with this. That's happened to me before. I'm even guilty of it. So, I mean, these things happen. But we want to do the best we can to remember people's names. I'm going to highlight the names with a few stories for you to help you understand just how important these things are. When I first became owner of my private practice 20 years ago, I needed a bank account, obviously, a business bank account. So I went to a large national bank and I opened up an account. And every Friday after work, I would go and do my banking needs, make deposits or transfers or whatever I needed to do. And because I was a new customer, I understand that when you meet me, you can ask for my ID. I get it. I'm brand new. Excuse me. And that's cool, maybe after the 8th time or the 12th time or the 15th, when, after 3 months of meeting with the same people or meeting the same people at the bank tellers and then asking for ID, I mean, it's not fair because I call them by name. They got a little cheat sheet because they wore their name tags. I didn't have a name tag, but when you just saw me last week and the week before and the week before and the week before, and they keep asking for my ID, I'll tell you what I did. I took my business elsewhere. I felt like a number and not a name or not a person. I brought my business to I'll say a local bank, a smaller, I'll even say the name of the bank. It was Cardinal Bank. And they changed to United Bank, bought them out. And I've been there now 20 years. They are the nicest, friendliest, welcoming. They greet me with a smile. When I walk in there on Friday now, it's like Norm walking into Cheers. It's like, hey, Chris, hey, what's going on? Hey, what's up? They'll ask about my family. I'll ask about theirs. It's just a better vibe and a better feel. They got my business because they treated me like a person and not a number. They remembered my name. That's how important a name is. Decades, and this is another name story, which I love. Decades and decades and decades ago, a young boy was born in a Midwest town. And very unfortunately, his dad, I can't remember why, but his dad passed away when he and his siblings were very young. So he was really, for all intents and purposes, raised by a single mom. But he was an extremely hard worker. He actually somehow got a job in the government, worked his way up the ranks, and actually attained the position of, it's called Postmaster General. It's the post office is not as big here, as well known or as reputable as it once was. The post office back in the day used to be a big deal. So this guy worked his way up to the ranks of Postmaster General. Years later, somebody interviewed him and they said, excuse me, what do you attribute your success to? You know what this guy said? It's unbelievable. I attribute my success to remembering every person's name that I had regular contact with. He claimed that he knew over 2,000 names, that if any random person out of these 2,000 people were in front of him, he would call them by name. That and that alone is what he attributed his success to. Unfortunately, I can't remember his name. No, I'm joking. His name is James Farley, Farley, Farley. Look it up. It's a great story about remembering people's names. But this one is my absolute favorite name story of all time. I was at one of my neighbor's houses years ago at a dinner party. Random people were there, people I had never met before. I struck up a conversation with another dad there, and we introduced ourselves, and we just started talking about what he did for a living and what I did. I found out he was a high school teacher at one of the local high schools, and he found out that I was a psychologist and my specialty was social skills, and that I was really big into remembering people's names. And So he stops me and he says, oh, well, let me tell you a name story that I do. I'm like, okay, yeah, I'd love to hear your name story. All right, here's the story. So he's a high school teacher. I'm not being an educator. I don't know when these teachers get the names of the students that are going to be in their classes for the upcoming year. So, if school starts September 1st, do they get the list that, August 28th? Do they get it the day before, the week before? I'm not really sure. But I know it's probably within a week or a few days before the start of school. So this guy, we probably had maybe 7 classes, 8 classes, I'm not sure, but many. He took the names of each class and he put them on a seating chart, put all the little names in the seating chart, and then he sat back, and even before he met these kids, he memorized the names so he knew who would be sitting where, even before the kids entered the classroom. So this is what he did. So that very first day, he would tell kids where to sit in their assigned seats. He knew their names. And the minute, for example, 2 kids in the back started acting up, he'd say, hey, Idris, hey, Mason, you guys mind knocking it off? And not just those 2 kids, but everyone in the classroom would be like, how does he know our names? He said, right from the get-go, I get control and I get respect that lasts throughout the year. I love that name story. That's the power of names. That's how powerful they are. Author unknown on this one. Words have meaning, but names have power. Remember people's names. So today, let me switch slides. I'm doing pretty good with time. I'm actually happy with that. So today, I reviewed with you all 4, I'm going to say, essential social skills that are necessary to step up your game in life right now and boost your chances of success in life. Like any skill, though, like any skill, art, mathematics, riding a bike, public speaking, anything. The more you practice, the more proficient you will be at that skill. I always say your ability to connect with those around you, whether that be in your home, in your social life, at work, to me, is going to be the deciding factor in how successful you'll be in life. I highly recommend that if you're a parent, that you work on these skills regularly with your child or children. I liken social skills to a school subject. I'll just use math as an example. If you have a child that's struggling in math, what do you do? What do you do? You may have them stay after school and work with the teacher. You may sit down with them after school and spend a half an hour reviewing math each and every day. You may hire a tutor, whatever is necessary to teach that skill. I personally think that social skills are even more valuable than math or science or social studies. Work with your kids regularly and consistently. Treat it like a school subject, that if they struggle socially, treat it like a school subject where you work with them regularly to promote these skills. If you're an educator, if you're a teacher, a school administrator, same thing. Do the best you can. I know your role is more academics than social, but these social skills are invaluable. Encourage them, promote them. If you're an adult and you're looking to improve these skills, focus on what we talked about today. Keep trying. Don't give up. And over the next 2 weeks, work on these 4 skills that we discussed today, and then be prepared and gear up, because I've got 4 more for you coming on August 27th when we meet again. But, as we all know, like just with math, as the example, sometimes more is needed, and that's where we can jump in, and that's where we can help you, because we're the professionals in that, and we meet with children, adolescents, and adults all day, every day, teaching social skills. As I said before, our goal is to bring happiness, health. Our goal is to bring social success to the clients that we see to better their lives. So if the interests are in individual lessons, group lessons, a combination of the two, we're here for you. We would welcome that opportunity to assist you. As always, I end the webinar saying this: I'm a phone call away. I'm an email away. My contact information is listed right there. Feel free to use it at any point, at any time. I'll answer any questions that you have. We are on Facebook. our Facebook page. If you just search Social Skills Center, we will come up. And our Facebook group that you can see on the slide is called it's called Social Skills Circle. And I think we're nearing 300 members. It is an extremely diverse group of awesome people that get on and discuss social things. So please join us if you haven't already. And, just as the slide is saying, we appreciate your referrals. So as always, I thank you for your time. I'm coming in just under the 45 minutes that I promised. If anyone does have any questions, this would be the time to do so. Feel free to raise your hand. I will see it. And if you don't feel comfortable raising your hand, feel free to use the chat too. I can hang out for a minute to see if anybody has anything that they want to ask. And if not, that's cool too. I know sometimes after the webinars, I'll get some emails. I'll get several emails usually after the webinars where people want to ask me questions in private, and I'm totally fine with that as well. Okay. As always, thank you so much for attending. Part 2 will be exactly 2 weeks from now, Thursday the 20, I believe I said the 27th, 13th, yeah. Thursday the 27th at 1 p.m. 4 more awesome social skills that are essential skills. Let's meet again then. I look forward to seeing you. I hope everybody has a wonderful rest of the weekend. And again, I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you so much for being here.